Hi everyone, welcome to Tony on Real Estate Education. So I'm a state certified real estate teacher and I've been teaching real estate full time for the last 10 years. So a quick shout out to my current students and my past students. And of course, welcome to anyone that's just looking for help with passing the exams. So this quiz I designed with short, concise questions. It's to help students quickly make connections between key terms and definitions. The goal is for students to recognize a single word or phrase and immediately associate it with the correct answer. One key term in a question can point you directly to the answer. All right, so you'll see what I mean once we get started. So let's just dive right in. Okay, first up, FHA loan. When you see an FHA loan, are you automatically thinking Fannie Mae, PMI, or a government insured loan? The answer is a government insured loan. That's not the only question that gets asked a lot. The other question always is who is actually insured? Is it the buyer or the lender? The lender is the one that's insured. All right, let's move on. What do we have next? Radioactive gas. When you think about radioactive gas, sorry about the dog. I'm not going to be doing any editing. It'll take me, you'll never get this video. Anyway, radioactive gas. Is it A, carbon dioxide, B, radon, or C, sulfur? The answer is radon, right? And there's more to radon too, right? Radon is a odorless radioactive gas that comes from rock. It comes from rock. On to municipality. Is it A, the town, B, the state, or C, the government? The answer is the town. Think about municipal parking, right? When you're in a town and you want to park, it doesn't usually say town parking, it says municipal parking. All right, the next one. SARA. First, what does SARA stand for? SARA is an acronym. It's the Superfund Amendment and Reauthorization Act. So when you see SARA, you're automatically thinking a loan, grantor, or homeowner immunity. The answer is homeowner immunity. And there's a lot to that. I have a whole video on that. So definitely go back and take a look at the video. All right, move on. Let's move on. Adds strength and insulation to the outside wall of a building. What's on the outside wall of a building? Is it BTUs? Is it sheetrock? Or is it sheathing? The answer is sheathing. Something you have to remember. Sheathing is on the outside wall. The next slide. When an agent meets a customer or a client in a formal setting, what would that be considered? A, first substantive contact, B, fiduciary, or C, disclosure? The answer is first substantive contact. That's when the conversation goes from informal to formal, right? And what happens at first substantive contact? What do? We take out the agency disclosure form and we have them sign that. Now, another question. What is the agency disclosure form for? What is the reason for the agency disclosure form? To educate the public, right? It's to educate the public, to let them know who they should be giving confidential information to and who they shouldn't, who's working for them and who is not working in their best interest. Okay, a mortgagor. When you think mortgagor, do you think borrower, lender, or client? The answer is usually not with what most people think. The answer is the borrower. It's flipped around, right? Only in this situation, though, that I know of. So you have a mortgagor, also known as the borrower. How I remember this in the beginning, when when I was having trying to remember this stuff, like you all, I would think mortgagor, two O's in mortgagor and two O's in borrower. That'll get you to the answer every time. Then blockbusting. When we're thinking about blockbusting, do we think about the lender, the buyer, or the seller? We should automatically be thinking about the seller. Blockbusting has to do with the seller. The agent comes in and starts scaring the homeowner into putting their house on the market, saying all negative things about the area, saying, you better hurry up and put your house on the market with me today if you want to make any money at all on your house. All right, so that answer is seller. Blockbusting has to do with the seller. Moving on to a co-op. When we think about a co-op, are we thinking A, a deed, B, a mortgage, or C, shares? You should automatically be thinking shares in a corporation. When we purchase a co-op or a cooperative, we're getting shares in a corporation. And there's the answer, shares. Next slide. And there's the answer, shares. Next. Like-kind exchange. When we think about like-kind exchange, are we thinking A, an FHA loan, B, capital gains tax, or C, 1031 exchange? Don't forget, when we're thinking about like-kind exchange, we're thinking about investments, investment money, not your own personal property. So the minute you see like-kind exchange, you should automatically be thinking 1031 exchange. I have so many videos on all of this. You should really go and take a look at the videos. I have about almost 60 videos up. Bridges and roads. When you're thinking about bridges and roads, are you thinking A, the municipality, B, infrastructure, or C, the building department? The answer is infrastructure. All right. Anybody that runs for office is always saying that they're going to put people to work on infrastructure. What do they mean? Bridges, roads, schools, public utilities. Okay. The next slide, transfer tax. When we think about transfer tax, we're thinking about something that the buyer pays, something the seller pays, or something that the lender pays. The answer is the seller. Transfer tax is part of the seller's closing costs. There aren't much when it comes to the seller as far as closing costs go. But when you're thinking about transfer tax, you're going to think about the seller. It's a tax on the deed being transferred from the seller to the buyer. There's a tax on that. The next slide, a letter of intent. When you see letter of intent, are you thinking A, co-op, B, condo, or C, mortgage? The answer is a condo. Letter of intent you should associate right away with a condo. So if I'm on my way to work and I see that there's a building going up and it's a condo, or the building is being converted from an apartment building to a condo, I can send something ahead saying that I'm interested in the unit. What would it be? A letter of intent. Moving on to the proprietary lease. When we see proprietary lease, do we automatically think A, co-op, B, condo, or C, residential house? The answer is a co-op. Co-ops don't get a mortgage, just like a house or a condo. They get what's called a proprietary lease, showing ownership. The next slide. Money for future expenses. Do we automatically think a bank account, a loan, or reserves? The answer is reserves, money set aside for future expenses or even unexpected expenses. That's reserves. And you would see that in a co-op and a condo.